Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and today is the new moon in the fixed air sign of Aquarius, and it is happening February 11th at 2:06 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be at 23 degrees 17 minutes of Aquarius. Let's take a look at the forecast that I've written. New moon in Aquarius, Thursday, February 11th, offers the potential for radical change and entirely new opportunities as the moon joins the sun in Aquarius, squaring Mars in Taurus, while the greater benefic Jupiter joins the lesser benefic Venus, also in Aquarius. Mercury retrograde in Aquarius sits between Moon Sun and Jupiter Venus, enabling you to look at old problems in a new way. Aquarius is the fixed air sign that rules the 11th house of friends, groups, large organizations, and wish fulfillment, as well as the places where people gather or express their creativity. The stage, the gallery, the audience, the internet. Technology, sciences, future, popularity, and fame are also associated with Aquarius and the 11th house. No matter what house is activated in your own chart by the current lineup of Aquarius planets, you will be considering your connection to others in a bigger way and seeking growth that will sustain you well into the future. With all the Aquarius planets squaring both Mars and Uranus in the Earth sign of Taurus, the condition of society and the planet are highlighted, and you may take actions that support making life better for the Earth and all beings living on it. Globally, a resurging interest in space exploration and green technology is possible. Let's take a look at how things appear right now. And we're over at planetwatcher.com with the time of 2:06, and here we can see the moon and sun in that conjunction. And we've got Mercury nearby. We've got a big lineup of Aquarius energy. Saturn, and that is conjunct Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter and Venus are exactly conjunct today. Mercury, it is hanging out there kind of with both, with Venus and Jupiter and the sun and the moon, creating a bridge between the two pairs. And that is the energy that's going to enable you to look at things in a new way and seek for changes and possibly address old problems in a new way. We still have Pluto lingering in Capricorn, and that will be for many years yet. So Capricorn influence is not entirely gone. Pluto does intensify things a little bit with Saturn. They are still loosely conjunct, but beginning to be more of a separating than an applying aspect. Doesn't have quite the same weight to it that it had just a month ago, now that Saturn is moving on deeper into Aquarius, and we're getting used to that Aquarian energy and forgetting that Capricorn time period we had where both Jupiter and Saturn were in Capricorn. Now we also have some energy going on between the Taurus planets and the Aquarius planets. Squares basically represent work, friction, tension, things that need addressing. And because Taurus rules the second house of personal finances and money, and Taurus is a Venus-ruled, very sensual, earthy sign that has to do with how does something look, taste, sound, smell, feel. Values are going to come up now, and they may be changing, but you may also have concerns over your finances and how the future will be concerning your finances. And some people are willing to do things in a different way now, become more entrepreneurial, take some risks with their money perhaps. There's also, I feel there's going to be a new way of looking at how people work in general. And I know that there's some hope of minimum wage being increased, and that may actually be happening because of all this Aquarius energy, that things have to change and society has needs that have to be better served. So we can't keep moving toward the future doing things in an old way is basically the moral of the planetary story right now. But there can still be some impulse control issues going on or anxiety and stress going on over the growth and changes and whether something is going to result in gain or result in loss. So before you do something new or different, please get as much research in as you possibly can. And while Mercury is retrograde, do be careful in doing anything new. You know, if you suddenly feel like you want to go out and buy a new phone, buy a new car, buy a new computer, it's generally not advised under Mercury retrograde unless you have no other options and your machinery is broken, can't be repaired, and you need something new. Also, beginning new jobs and new projects or launching them. Very often when you natalize something and you have Mercury retrograde in that chart for the birth of something, it makes it very challenging for Mercury to fully express. It doesn't have the opportunity to be forward moving, basically. And it can impede good communication. Many people do look back at old relationships during Mercury retrograde, and in the sign of Aquarius, well, maybe it would be done in a different way. If you get back into a relationship with somebody, it can't be the way it was before, and the dynamics of the relationship would have to change. Some people may simply shift into the friendship zone because Aquarius is more detached, and that may be challenging to whoever might be in the I want to hang on to what's mine mindset of Taurus. Taurus doesn't like to let go of what they have. Taurus says, I have. That's the Taurus phrase. So the letting go of things may be challenging and difficult, but sometimes it is better to let go. And Jupiter and Saturn and Venus all gathered here together indicate that even though a letting go can be hard, it's still going to be for the better, and moving on to new things might be where your future lies rather than trying to hold on to the old. You definitely can't go back to the way things were. You're going to find that just disappoints, or it's not going to last. It has to be done differently, or look for something or somebody new. Neptune's hanging out in Pisces still, which is its ruling sign. It is interacting well with Mars, and it's challenging the North Node a bit, some confusion as to which path to take, but we do have a trine between Mercury retrograde and the North Node in Gemini. Maybe something that you wanted to do in the past that you felt was going to be your future that you didn't get to follow through on is presenting itself again. And if you are doubtful or questioning because of this square to Neptune, I would say go ahead and try it out. Chiron in Aries is self-aware, and it does make good aspect here to Jupiter and to Venus and to Saturn. So you may be more mature and have a better platform to be able to do something that you weren't able to do before. Maybe you were too young. Maybe you didn't have enough self-discipline. Maybe you didn't have enough motivation to do it. Just because it didn't work out for you before in terms of, your fate or destiny or what you want to do with your life, whatever your path might be, doesn't mean that you can't do it now. And do not allow doubt to stand in the way of giving something a serious try. Neptune and Mars in that sextile, although it's a minor aspect, it can be quite fruitful because it involves action-oriented Mars in an Earth sign, which is very materially oriented, and Neptune, which is highly idealistic and has to do a lot with what we choose to believe or perceive being what we receive. Whatever you have faith in, you are likely to manifest something with that sextile. So try especially if it's about a life plan you had in the past, and if you got knocked off track in the past because you just didn't have enough or weren't enough of something. Now Chiron gets some really good support for basically trying new things and making it potentially your livelihood, improving yourself in some way, learning new things. Aquarius is a very cerebral air sign, and it is very future-oriented, and it asks a lot of questions, and it seeks the solutions. Sometimes the genius that comes along with it can be light years ahead of its time. So along with that is that your particular genius or idea or whatever's coming forward might not be quickly accepted by other people. You might be a way shower now, and it might take a little time, particularly under Mercury retrograde, for whatever that vision is that you have to be accepted by the crowd. But if you've been working on something for a long time and you are wondering when your moment of recognition or fame or exponential growth could be occurring, if you do put forth the effort now to really connect and make it a priority that you're going to take actions on being seen as a unique individual, and you're going to monetize for profit, to be able to do your own thing entrepreneurially. Whatever you have been working on may suddenly become much more popular. You may achieve that level of word-of-mouth fame. You may have a larger audience, and you may be able to command a better income from whatever it is that you do. So how you use these planets now will depend a lot upon where they are in your natal chart, what house they're moving through. Obviously, if they're moving through money or work-related houses, it's going to apply more for advancement and entrepreneurial opportunities, and doing your own thing, being seen and recognized, and going after more money, and maybe handling your money in different ways for the future. And if they are sitting in relationship-oriented houses, then how you approach relationship is going to be very different. And some of your friendships may change. Some people may find that they're falling in love with a friend, that there needs to be space potentially in a committed long-term relationship. Sometimes people need to go out and do their own thing, or involve other friends, or go do group activities in order to grow and expand and be able to bring something back into their committed relationship. So committed relationships may be going through some changes as well, and some people may be deciding that it's time to go out and make new friends and meet people and begin to date again. It really depends, as I mentioned, what houses those planets are moving through for you. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol. We will see what Dane Rudyard has written here. So we round up to 24 degrees of Aquarius. A man having overcome his passions teaches deep wisdom in terms of his experience. Keynote: the constructive use to which difficult past experiences can be put as examples for those who are still striving to overcome their passions. Every type of experience can be made to serve a spiritual purpose. Every man or woman, however humble his or her status, can be an example to younger people who are still struggling to overcome or control the compulsive drives of their emotional, biological natures. Whoever has managed a difficult performance contributes to the collective wisdom of his community and of mankind. Every achievement is to be passed on to those who may be inspired by it to greater and more adequate efforts. At this fourth stage of the 64th subcycle, we are given a never-to-be-forgotten hint. It is the responsibility of anyone, who has taken one step ahead in his evolution to help others to take that step. This is true education. The key word is communicability. So, if we look back here, Taurus is incredibly earthbound and material, and Aquarius much more detached, cerebral, and analytical. And basically the wisdom or the knowledge, Aquarius is the I know, I think I know sign, and it's here interacting primarily with the I have. So integrating what you have, what you know, in a way that is going to be of benefit to the larger group or society is important. While we have the planet that rules Aquarius moving through Taurus, I think everybody who has even the slightest bit of entrepreneurial dreams should really try. Give it a go. You just don't know what will happen until you try. I do think that more and more people are going to be home employed and self-employed in the future, and this may be the initial, rock landing in the middle of the pond, and we'll see the ripples going out into the future as that grows and deepens. Definitely there may be changes too in governmental structure, that maybe we will have health care for all, when it's no longer required that you work for a particular company just because they're going to give you health insurance, but you can be self-employed, and the country as a whole, everybody shares the ability to have health care. That's going to change the working world a great deal. And we may see that it's time, and our society and how people interact in society will change, and how we bring our talents to market is going to change, when we don't have to suppress or modify our talents because we have to have insurance, or we have to work 30 years to get retirement, or we have to do whatever it is. Now I think the focus in the next few years, while Jupiter and Saturn continue their path long term through Aquarius, will be how are we working better? How are we changing? How are we working better in a way that is going to work for the homogeneous society, yet enable everybody to be their own individual and be able to bring their talents to the world. And that's it. So until the next time, when we're going to be looking at a full moon near the end of the month, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon.